In the center of the Grand Statue Gallery in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, there is a low glass case that protects a large plaster and mud brick floor from an ancient Egyptian palace. Let's talk about the royal palace floor from Amarna in this Artifact Insight video. I was honestly surprised about how little information I could find about this particular object, considering it is so large and such a prominent place in the Egyptian Museum. I'm also a huge fan of the Amarna period, and I knew generally what this was, but I wanted to know more and found it surprisingly hard to find. This floor was discovered in 1882 by the Egypt Exploration Society and Flinders Petrie in the Great Royal Palace of the central city of Amarna. It was initially considered for an in situ, or in the exact location it was found, preservation. It was crafted from mud bricks covered with plaster and then painted. Flinders Petrie was able to cover this area with a large roof that allowed visitors to come and look at the preserved floor. Unfortunately, it appears that in 1912, one of the rooms of this pavement was hacked to bits by a vengeful local. Explanations for this vary, one that it was a result of a village feud. The extent of the damage is not recorded, but some 22 large pieces were recovered and sent to Cairo for reconstruction, which is most likely the pieces that are now preserved in the Grand Gallery of the museum. There is a chance that those pieces were not actually put together in the right configuration, and that this is what the entire room would have looked like previously. The design appears to be mainly surrounding a central pool filled with images of fish, birds, and plants, like lily pads. That is then surrounded by images of a marsh scene, including animals like fowl and maybe even some small mammals. This is also where these large columns stood in the center of the room. The entire outline of the room contains what appears to be bouquets of flowers, except for one section, which outlines a series of bows and bound warriors, presumably to be from the Near East or Nubia. These could indicate the 9 bows, which is a symbol for the many enemies of Egypt. By putting them on the floor, it's actually so that the king can trample upon them as he walks over this scene. It's honestly really hard to get a good image of this piece when you are in the museum because the glass is not really regularly cleaned and they have a lot of support bars made out of wood. So even when you're on the second floor, you can't really see the entire pattern.